What's up YouTube, Ryan from Addicted to Nature, and today we are talking about two very common new tank problems. Now this tank I set up about a week ago and it's been running pretty smoothly. However, two things that we're going to focus on today is the surface gunk, which comes in as like an oily opaque film at the top of your tank, as well as various plants that are melting. Now with the opaque film at the top, the problem with that is that it'll stop the surface gas exchange between your water and the air, which will not be very good for your plants and your fish. Now, I don't have fish in here, but the best way to tell if you have surface gunk is to see the bubbles. If they pop, then you're fine. But if they don't, then you have that gunk on there, as well as you can see like an opaque film on here. So the easiest way to get rid of this is to use water changes. Now, 30 to 40% water changes every 3 days or so will most likely get rid of this problem. Just repeat this for about a week or two until your plants get established. The other thing I want to mention is that if your water level is very high, now I deliberately raised the water level because I didn't want the filter outflow to be going into the substrate. Since the substrate is going to go everywhere, it's going to be disturbed, and I don't have any carpeting plants planted and established yet. So the best way to do this is to lower it just a little bit, just slightly, and then you're going to have more water movement. However, the water is still not going to be going directly towards your substrate. Now, this way you have to be very, very closely monitoring this, because anything more than about a little bit like this, it'll probably go into your substrate and disturb all your plants. So that's the two ways that I deal with surface scum. You can manually remove it, but it doesn't solve the problem. And the next problem is the melting of aquarium plants. This is a very, very common thing to have. Doesn't matter what type of aquarium you run, even YouTubers and nice aquariums and high-tech aquariums get melt. So I just wanted to show you guys this process because I think it can be kind of fake when people always just do amazing, beautiful shots of their plants and they don't tell you the truth behind all of this stuff. Now, take a look at the Monte Carlo. My micro swords are melting and everything is melting. And the best way to get rid of this problem is to have patience. Understand that this is a natural process, because it's just like when you get hired to a new job, right? When you first start out, you don't know anything. You're really bad at everything. So you have to grow. You have to grow your skills. You have to immerse yourself in that job to become a better employee, and it usually takes about a month or two for you to have the basics down and to look a little bit better than when you were starting off. Same thing with the plants. They're coming from places that are very, very different from your water quality. They can have been grown in in the air, out of the water, and they have to transform into their submerged forms. Take a look at that moss. It's turning brown. Moss is really hardy, but it's still turning brown. That tells me that the growing conditions for the moss was very different than the conditions that I'm growing my moss in. So when you do this, you're going to see a lot of dead plants, dead organic matter. You can remove them with a tweezer, but you want to be very careful not to disturb the plant any more than they already are, because adding so much undue stress can actually kill your plants. So removing sort of the dead floating bits and all of the dead stuff is good because it'll reduce your ammonia. But if you're doing water changes like I told you in the previous problems, then you should be able to keep ammonia and all of the bad stuff in the water at a pretty low level. Take a look at this Monte Carlo. I showed you a clip of the Monte Carlo earlier, but if you look a little bit closer, you can see that there's actually new green growth coming out of the stems. Now, that new green growth is the growth that's, good for your aquarium, that's adapted to your aquarium, and as long as you have that, then you're going to be fine. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope my tips help you become a better aquascaper, as well as have a little bit more faith in yourself and the natural processes that are happening in this amazing hobby. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.